Hello and welcome to the Pixel Scandal Nerdcast, episode 21. I'm Kurt.
Nightson.
Oh shit. Is it me? I closed my thing. I'm Handor.
I'm Gigett.
I'm end of line.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
How's-
friends.
How's everybody doing this fine evening?
Tired.
Yeah.
Tired? Don't be tired, be wired.
Very tired.
Hey,
How's
Kurt.
guys?
Hey Kurt, where can people find us?
Oh, well, people can find us all over the place if they'd like to.
I know we're all over the internet now.
First off, people can go to pixelscandal.com to find out all sorts of information about the show, watch back episodes, find our YouTube link, find our Twitch link, find everything. So if you're on a channel watching us and you want to know where else you can watch us, go to pixelscandal.com. You can also email the show by emailing pixelscandal@gmail.com. You can send us hate mail or questions or whatever, and we'll read that crap and talk about it on the show. If you want to engage with us on social media, we're on a bunch of those. You can find us at Pixel Scandal on Twitter and Instagram. I think there should be a Facebook page, so if you just search Pixel Scandal on Facebook, you should be able to find our fan page.
Yep.
And if you got some other social media application that you just have to use and you want us on there, you send us an email. We'll figure it out.
And if you're on Twitch right now, End of Line just linked to our website, so you can just click on that link and go to our website.
Find it in the
find
chat.
all the things you need to find us on.
And for our audio-only listeners, or for those of you who would like to be audio listeners, you can find our podcast, or you can find this show as a podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play.
What's the word? Podkeepers?
Whatever podcatcher you prefer.
Podcatcher.
So if you listen to podcasts on a specific app and we don't show up there for some reason, you just email pixelscandal@gmail.com and I will make it happen.
And we drop our podcast on Mondays. So if you want to listen to this audio only on your way to and from work, Mondays.
You can do the thing.
You can do the thing. Well, cool. Tonight's topic is going to be about, spotlight topic is going to be about game life balance and how to figure out how to balance all those things. But before we get to that, and Align, do we have any announcements?
We do. We have our actual play on October 13th. That'll be at 9 a.m. We'll be playing a one-shot that Gidget will be DMing for us while Kurt is cheating in Big Bad Con.
Oh, yeah.
Cheating on his gamer buddies with other gamer buddies.
Yep.
The next Dungeon World game is November 10th at 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
That will be continuing that after the one-shot on October 13th, so we'll be picking back up Dungeon World game where we'll find out where Handor will see his very first boobies.
I don't know if they're necessarily Forrest's first boobies. He seems like a worldly fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say sheltered.
Sheltered? Not worldly, sheltered?
Well, you could be worldly and sheltered. In some
That's
aspect.
true. Traveled a lot of the world, but haven't paid attention to a lot of it.
Handor's having grown-up feelings. And he's trying to learn about the bird. We're gonna have a birds and the bees conversation.
No. Handor's not having grown-up feelings.
He still hasn't got to that point.
Yeah,
yet.
Handor has not learned about grown-up feelings yet.
Forrest might have, but
October 13th, 9 a.m. November 10th, 9 a.m. Come check it out. Definitely tune in for those.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. What's everybody excited about? I'm excited for tomorrow because Kurt and I are going to play in a playtest of the Great American Novel run and written by Christopher Gray.
Did you guys already do that?
We played in it at the Strategicon convention, and he wants to stream his own actual play of his system, kind of get it out there and let people see it. And so we're going to be on that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But once you already know that the zebra did it?
Well, it's not so. Yeah, right.
Last time it was
Godfather.
The Godfather. And this
Was-
time it's not going to be The Godfather.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's different story, same.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christopher, isn't Christopher Gray the dude that is in? He's the 50 Shades of Grey guy.
Same name, different guy.
Thank you for being the only of our cast who could make such a reference.
Yes.
He's not the only one. I made that same joke when we met him the first time.
Okay, let me rephrase. Could and chose to make such a reference.
Yeah.
I did make the joke. It was just a while, it's like a couple years ago when I met him. But yes. Well, cool. Kurt, what are you excited about?
Well, I've got quite a few things coming up. Big Bad Con is coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm super excited about that. I get to go ride the Amtrak up there, so that'll be fun. So if anybody is taking the Amtrak to Big Bad Con and you see me on the train, come say hi, I guess. But yeah, if you are at Big Bad Con and you see me, come say hi, because I want to talk about games and stuff.
And by the way, how we all say hi, all of us Pixel Scandals. When
Yeah,
we meet
whatever
up-
he's about to say, don't do to me. Please.
Do it. Do it.
Please don't, whatever it is.
Do it.
Don't do it to me.
Do it.
Just stay over there. I'll bring it
we
over.
have a couple. We have a couple of secret handshakes. I guess I'll tell you guys about it later.
No, you should definitely walk up to Kurt and go, hello and welcome
You could do that. That
to
would.
Big Bad Con.
Yeah. If Sean
Hello
Nittner
and
wants to walk
welcome.
up to me and say hello and welcome to Big Bad Con, I'll take it.
3 octaves higher than any normal person should be talking.
Yeah.
I need to message Dave Kazay so when he finds you,
So when he gets there, he can run up and say hello and welcome to Big Bad Con?
yes.
Okay.
Because, and Tomes and Christopher Gray. Oh, I know so many people that could totally troll you all weekend
There's
with
going to
that.
be a lot of people there. Jib and
so
Gina, I think, are going to
Oh.
be there.
All right, I got to reach out to everyone so that everyone is
Yep.
bothering Kurt.
Yeah.
This is my new life goal.
Yeah. It's going to be good
Thanks.
times.
Thanks, Handor.
And then after Big Bad Con, I get to come back here, and then there's an online convention that I'm running some games at. So I'm running Nuclear Night School, which is my sort of custom Savage World setting, which is a 80s with magic, and you all play college kids, very St. Elmo's Fireball kind of situation.
Very fun.
Yeah. This
Are
one is
there any
called...
slots left?
There are slots left. Yeah, so if you want to come play, it's a different story than the one I ran last time, which you had played originally. So, if you want to check it out,
There you go.
You want to
Gauntlet?
drop in the show notes for any would be
yeah.
Yeah.
Gauntlet Con does have a fee. I think it's like a $5 donation to register to play games there, but that's fairly fair. And if you're a Gauntlet member, you already have access to that. So,
Cool.
and I do have room in my games.
Quick question while you're talking about Big Bad Con.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine recently reached out to me and told me he bought the rules book or whatever. He bought the book for Vampire the Masquerade. Do you have
Sure.
any experience with that?
I played it
go ahead.
a million years ago when I was 14.
There's
Oh,
actually a
Barry
new
was
edition out,
old.
isn't there?
Yeah, Vampire 5 is out.
Oh, they're up to 5. Okay, I think
Yeah.
it was second or third is what I played.
He has never-
I played the 20th anniversary edition as a play-by-post. So we
What's
didn't
that
get too into the mechanics. Means like a forum, and then you post what your character is doing.
Oh, okay.
So
okay, I
like
gotcha.
slow moving.
Yeah.
Role playing in a chat room.
Basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that with the 20th edition one. But we didn't get I don't think I ever got in a fight. So I never. But I was. What is it? I was playing a Tory, so I had just all the awe powers. So I would walk into a room and make everyone love me.
Yeah, my buddy decided to just buy. He has as much experience as I do, and he just decided to buy this book on a whim because he
Oh, nice.
loves. Yeah, so he's gonna try to. I told him to possibly reach out to you as our resident professional RPG.
Sure.
So, if you get a message from somebody that we all know, then,
Why don't they email pixelscandal@gmail.com and we could talk about it on the show? I'll do some research.
There you
Because it
go.
is not my game. It is definitely not my game. I it is the least. I have the least amount of knowledge about that game versus others.
But we know a lot of people.
But I
who
know
do
a lot of people
about
who
it.
love that game, and maybe we can get a guest on to come and talk about it.
Yeah.
You know what? I will tell him about that, and I'll tell him. Actually, I'll just have him listen to this, and
Yeah.
then
There you go.
I will say it is a system where I enjoy the world a lot more than I like the books.
Right.
Mm.
Well, it's
you enjoy
White
the
Wolf.
world a lot more.
Then the mechanics.
Oh, the mechanics. Okay.
So like the setting is more interesting than the rules are.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's all games.
I mean, some games the rules are better than the setting. So
Aw.
you take the rules and you put them in a different setting.
Is that? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. I am not going to talk crap about a game that everyone seems to love that I don't like. What I am super excited about is for the new Halloween movie that's coming out in October.
Oh, yeah.
And
yes.
we're all going to End of Line's house, sans Handor, for us to all watch the original and then go see the new one in the theaters. I'm very excited.
Now, I have never actually seen the original. I've seen like bits and pieces,
What?
but I've never
What?
actually seen it.
I
So-
also may not have seen it. I don't
Okay.
remember.
So I'm not going to be that guy, but I
Do
will
it.
say
Please
this.
Be that guy.
Without exaggerating, I am very confident that most people who are fans of horror will tell you that the original 1978 release of Halloween is the most impactful horror movie ever made. It was the first horror movie to really nail suspense and the music
And a story. Like
the story-
instead of it just being, the story wasn't about the gore. The story was about what was happening in the movie.
Right.
Couldn't it? Well, technically, what year did the Stabber movie come out? The the shower curtain.
Psycho?
Psycho.
Psycho. When I feel like that one's pretty iconic as one of the first horror. Like,
That was like 1875.
yeah, I think
the
so.
first Psycho
I thought
was
so.
1960.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's- Alfred
So I
Hitchcock
think
did
the-
Psycho, right?
Not to take away from what you're saying, I absolutely
no.
agree with what you're saying. But I think Psycho might be. You might get some.
No, you're absolutely correct.
I've seen Psycho. That one I have
you
seen.
are absolutely correct, Handor. But I also agree with End of Line that the kind of movie that Halloween is it started a whole different
Yeah.
genre of
For sure.
horror movies.
Psycho, and again, I'm gonna get a ton of shit from people. I
Yeah.
look at Psycho as more of a suspense thriller than I do a horror movie,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
because Alfred Hitchcock was.
and I
more
love
than-
Psycho, love Psycho, but I don't lump it in the same bucket as I would Halloween.
You're gonna get so much shit. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
cool
Email
Again,
your hate mail
uh,
to pixelscandal@gmail.com.
though. No, I was gonna say endofline@gmail.com.
I am
You
a
gotta-
horror movie fanatic, so
Well, that's weird because I watched a crap ton of horror movies growing up, and Halloween just somehow I
Slip through the
missed.
cracks.
Slip through there.
Yeah.
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 Well, here's why though. After Halloween release, all the horror movies that kind of followed it kicked it to 11. So like you had like the Friday the 13th, you had Nightmare on Elm Street. Like what Halloween did, everyone like bumped up the volume, and so it kind of fell to the
Mhm.
wayside. But it was the first of that stream, I think.
When
Right.
did Poltergeist come out?
Ooh.
I don't know.
That was a good one too.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that's one that they really. That's one that they I think. Kicked up to like 13 or 14. Let's say 13, just because of
Kicked it to
19
13.
'Cause it's a horror
1982.
movie.
82.
Yeah, so just a couple years after Halloween.
Yeah, this movie has been interesting. I've kind of been bouncing around forums. I have a couple of horror forums that I'm on, and I went
Not
to
to be confused with the horror forms.
not horror forums,
Not
horror.
You're on
Forum.
both though, right?
Yeah.
No,
you don't spend time in horror forums?
and there seems to be a pretty dramatic confusion about this movie, and when it
Oh,
falls in the
I-
timeline.
I remember. Yeah, you talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of blew up on a bunch of nerds on YouTube a couple days ago, and I've been getting like PM from people like both you fucking nerd and thank you for setting everyone straight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's funny.
because it's
Well-
completely erasing the timeline.
Well,
and
doesn't
changing
this one
the
come-
end of the first movie.
This one comes right after Freddy versus Jason, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Immediately after that.
I'm gonna move us right along here because if
Yeah.
you tune back in on October 13th for our podcast, the whole show is going to be dedicated to horror movies, and we will be going into depth about this topic. So, tune back in on October 13th for more heated discussion about the best horror movies out there.
Yeah.
I see here something that I think we're all very, very excited about. And if you're in chat on Twitch, you probably see that we're all very excited, especially End of Line. But we have our own emoji, which is Moose Rock, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have Moose Rock.
We have Moose Rock.
So for any of our subscribers,
if you're a sub, you get access to that emote. What do they call them? Emoticon? Emoji?
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Yeah, I think they use a word for it, but
whatever. It's Moose Rock, guys. I'm
they're
super
emotes,
excited.
Emotes.
Our emotes. We've got
And what
Moose
episode do
Rock.
people need to listen to find out the context of Moose Rock?
That is the Pantheon episode.
That is the Pantheon
Pixel Scandal
episode.
Nerdcast episode 18.
18 if you want to find out the origin of Moose Rock.
Hashtag where's Moose Rock?
Hashtag where's Moose Rock. It's actually towards the end of that episode, but listen to the whole thing because it's good. But yeah, if you want to know the origin of Moose Rock, episode 18. But we have our own emoticon.
Let's. This is insane. I'm always super. I romanticize everything, and I'm super flighty and dreamy about stuff. But I would love to compete. I would love to compete with Jimmy Fallon on a going worldwide with a hashtag.
Hashtag where's Moose Rock?
Let's make hashtag where's Moose Rock
Trending. Yeah, let's
Worldwide.
do it, guys. Just
I will
anything
push it
you
through every one of my Twitter communities. Every single
good.
one.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Thanks
Night
so
and
much,
day.
Nightson. No, seriously,
and the
if you're
line will-
out there and you tweet or whatever, or Instagram, just whatever you're doing, just add hashtag Moose Rock. Like everything you say, just
Hashtag
add it.
where is Moose Rock?
And that's
Hashtag
where is
where's
Moose Rock?
Moose Rock?
Where is Moose Rock? Yeah. So, and I will be doing that, and I'm very excited because I love it. I love Moose Rock.
From now
so
on,
much.
when you're talking to your Facebook friends too, and someone just you don't feel like arguing with them, it's been a long day, and they say something stupid, just say hashtag where's Moose Rock, and then they'll just be like,
Yeah. When your friend says, "Hey, have you eaten at that restaurant?" Just say, "Is that the one on Shaw and Moose Rock?" What?
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that's
No, we're making this everywhere, dude.
Okay, so kind of back to that conversation though, of like things in games where there's no map and you're like, oh, next to that thing and trying to decide where it is. Go back to episode 18 to get more of that conversation. But I was playing WoW and there's like this whole Pirate Cove area and there's a daily boss that you can go kill down there. And there's totally a penis-shaped rock right in front of the tunnel. And every time like I'm running over there, I'm like, yep, there's Penis Rock. Like every time I see it.
Dick Rock. Hashtag where's Dick Rock?
Yeah, hashtag where's Dick Rock? Like every time I see it, it makes me laugh because I think of Moose Rock. But I'm like, that's totally Dick Rock. Anyway. Is anybody else excited about anything else that's not on the sheet here?
I don't have anything coming up.
Cool.
Nope.
So what has everybody been playing recently? Obviously, I just added myself that I'm still playing WoW.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you over there playing WoW every now and then.
I got my main on the Alliance side to 120, so now I have one on Horde and one on Alliance.
Nice.
That's
and and
Both mages.
both
Yeah.
mages.
Yep.
One's
Both
name
tiny
is
people.
Gigett. The other one name is Jet. One's a gnome. One's a goblin. I don't have problems. Yeah, I'm revered with all the things you need to be revered with on the Horde side, and I'm honored with everybody on the Alliance side. I'm just working on getting revered. So
Very nice.
I don't have a problem at all.
Mhm.
What have you guys been playing?
Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead, Nightson.
I actually spent a majority of the week after our survival discussion. I ended up downloading and playing Conan Exiles this week.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Oh,
I didn't do
Yeah.
that.
why didn't you say anything?
I've been wanting to try that game.
It is so.
How dare
What
you
the
play a
hell?
game
Yeah.
without the rest of us?
No, it was literally
I'm
something I
so-
just wanted to get in and just check out for a little bit. And if there's interest, I'm happy to go back. I played through just kind of got the feel for it and whatnot.
I'm so fucking offended, dude.
Why?
Yeah, I did want to check it out, honestly.
Because you know I have it. We've talked about this.
And
Yeah,
be-
you're fucking dick.
Because
no,
of our
the
conversation.
bigger issue.
I was gonna say
Hashtag
because
dick.
of our conversation last week, I went and played Fallout 3 a little bit this last week.
What'd you think of it?
Also because of our conversation last week. I hadn't played it before, so I actually really like it. It's super fun.
Tunnel Snakes
Yeah.
rule.
Good game.
Wait, what are we? what are we
Tunnel
talking
Snakes
about?
rule. Actually,
Tunnel
that's
Snakes do.
the only reason I laughed at that joke is because I was watching her play and she saved the girl from the tunnel snakes. Like right as you, and then you made the joke the next day.
I missed it. What were you playing?
Fallout.
Fallout 3.
Oh,
Fallout 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, to get back to Conan real quick,
Yeah. get
you've
back
already
to
played it. You've already played it. It's like a reskin of Ark on the most
okay.
basic
that.
level.
I played Conan.
No, I'm
Like-
for Endo. I mean,
Oh,
it is a reskin of Ark. It is literally the crafting is the exact same. The leveling's the exact same.
Yeah.
The building's the exact same.
Really?
But then it's better. The combat's way better. It actually has a story. It has dungeons. It has like proper exploration.
Yeah, I'm gonna download it.
My
Do it.
biggest
I
my-
love Conan, so
Yeah.
like,
Nice.
my biggest gripes about it are literally you don't have any form of beast of burden. Like you don't have a pack mule or anything to move stuff
Yeah.
around.
Oh, okay.
Because one thing about those games is it's all about I'm going to go out and get a crap ton of rocks or whatever
Mm.
or metal and bring them back to base, process them, do stuff.
The
There's no way to make it easier. That's your thing you're doing 5 minutes into the game. That's the thing you're doing 10
Oh.
hours into the game. You
Congrats.
literally are just going out and getting a lot more stuff and bringing them back.
nicely done, Rando. So something that I hope this isn't going to be a spoiler. I don't even know if this is even still part of the game. I was watching a YouTube playthrough of it, and the difference between Ark and Conan is I know in Conan you
Dinosaurs.
can pretty much be. That is a major difference, yes. But in Conan, I believe you can pretty much become a god for like 60 seconds or something like that, can't you?
Oh,
Like, later on
I
in the
did.
game?
If so, I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
I
it's
built
pretty
up my
deep in the-
base. I got like to the second or third tier of like crafting, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting." I'll
Yeah.
definitely have to, report back, let everyone know.
What, you liked the crafting part of a game? I'm so surprised.
Nope,
I did not
there's
see
really
that
no-
coming. I didn't see it
Yeah.
coming.
I didn't at all.
Yeah.
What would be
Um,
great is when we can all play and then we can all report back and all talk about it, as opposed to you just talking about it and us going, okay, cool, let's check
Bitter
that
party
out.
of one. Bitter
Here's my
party of
problem
one.
is I don't think it's worth $40. Like
Mm.
I got it for
already had
$12. Well, I got it for
I don't
yes. I'm
understand.
trying to sell other people or not sell other people on it, and I'm saying, like, I got it for $12 in the Humble ages
Mm.
ago, and so I already
Cool.
had it.
Google
but-
just tried to hop on my phone and help me out.
I heard
Um,
that.
I don't
But
understand.
I think
He's like,
40 is
"What
a
do you
little
want?"
bit of a steep price tag on it.
Yeah.
But when it goes on sale again, I would definitely say it's worth checking.
You're to be
Awesome.
fair, he's a little bit. Well, I can't say this because I'm on the other end of the spectrum, but Nightson is a little bit on the cheaper side of.
Oh.
You calling him a cheapskate?
He is a little bit of a cheap.
No, I just rate experiences based on what I get out of them, and
Yeah.
I don't feel it was a $40 experience.
Well,
Yeah,
I, feel like
I
it
could
was
see
$40.
that.
I feel like it's fully $40.
Especially seeing as it was like $20 on sale 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steam does that.
So I see here that some of you have been playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah, of course we got tired of WoW, so we got to go to the
Next
backup WoW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go to backup WoW.
Backup WoW.
Yep.
How's that going?
How's backup
Oh, it's
WoW
fun.
going?
Yeah.
Kind of like they just released their newest expansion, or not expansion, but newest patch and whatnot. So finally getting to catch back up on everything and getting in better shape. Because I'm still fingers crossed, hoping they're going to give me my blue mage.
Mm.
Here's the thing. I kind of want to go back and play it again because I enjoy the game, but I haven't been playing WoW because I haven't had the drive to sit and play an MMO.
Mhm.
And while I would want to like do some dungeons with you guys, I think my character's in the middle of the story quest for the first expansion, and so I still have like 500 hours of story quests to get through or something bananas. And so by the time I would get through one expansion and be done with the game, and not it's basically a solo game.
Yeah.
At this point for you, yeah.
I mean, you can do some dungeons, which is kind of fun, but after a while, grinding gets a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
It's definitely a
tempted, though.
game
I'm tempted.
that is very wrapped around the concept of you have here's the stuff I'm going to do with my friends.
Mhm.
Here's the stuff I'm going to do when my friends are not around.
Right.
And early on, or if you're late getting to the game, that ratio is very off because, you want, hey, you guys are having fun in this game. I'd like to come have fun with you guys. Oh, hold up. You need to be, you need to get on this line and, work
Do this
on
1,000 hours of story quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for a single player Final Fantasy game that occasionally has dungeons with your 5 friends, like it's solid. It's a good game. The story quests are interesting. Like even the dungeons are kind of interesting. So it's worth playing.
Yep. What is Weasel asking?
Did you guys ever do the Hildebrand quest in Final Fantasy 14? Because it's a great quest line. I don't remember
Yes.
the quest line.
Mm-hmm.
However, that was 5 years ago, so not a goddamn clue about it.
Long time ago.
I do not remember that one.
That was like 300 scenario quests ago.
Yeah, you probably would not have done it because that was a quest line to unlock a level, an optional level 40 dungeon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I think my character's like mid 60s, or I know I'm playing Bard. But if I ever get back in it.
So who's been playing Monsters in Anpa?
So I wanted to shout out to the Forest Hem and Picnic. The Forest Hem and Picnic Kickstarter.
No wonder he put FHNP because he doesn't want us.
Yeah, Cecil dropped some more game stuff, and so he dropped the monster creation rules for the Spookwood.
Spoopy.
So you can make spoopy monsters, and I went ahead and went through it today and made some spoopy monsters, and they are in fact spoopy. One of the cool things about it is you can do it as a campfire thing where you have the characters when they camp. You just ask them Mad Lib questions, and you can build a little song. And then the characters can sing the song about the monster, and then that's the monster they fight.
Nice.
Yeah. It's kind of neat. It's a cutesy game. So, and the monsters are not like your central point of tension in the game. They're not your main conflict in the game. And so it's kind of cool that they're just sort of weird and totally random. Like the monster I created was a large spider with a wolf's head that's rabid, but the head is backwards. It was a very strange monster.
So, question though.
Oh, and he was into robbery.
Does Monster Ham make your picnic more exciting?
I would say
successful?
so. I would say that if you had Monster Ham at your picnic, you're going to be able to feed more people.
Okay.
Than like a standard ham.
Yeah.
Also, Spookwood skewers. They're all gnarled and stuff. That's way more entertaining than just normal sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives it that mesquite taste.
The mesquite. That's Spookwood mesquite. So go check out Forest Hem and Picnic Kickstarter.
Cool.
Forest Hymn and
Picnic.
Hymn.
Like the song. Like a song.
Like a hymnal.
Yeah.
Cool Whip.
Cool whip.
Cool whip. Why
Cool
do you
whip.
say it like that?
Why-
All right. Well, let's move into our spotlight topic for the evening: game-life balance.
Hey,
oh
wait.
yeah.
No. Hold on.
Did I miss something?
Yeah.
So sorry.
I've
Did we
been
cut
playing
you
some
off?
D3.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to.
We did not mean to cut you off.
bulldoze
Please tell us
over
about
your
Diablo
thing.
3 and how it's still relevant.
play a little D3. Go ahead. Spotlight.
And now for our spotlight topic. Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about D3 and a more extended topic coming up pretty soon. We kind of discussed a little bit about Diablo and other games such like it through Discord this week with some heated discussion from End of the Line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do you guys want to expand on that now, or do you want to wait till we make it a topic?
Let's
yeah, we have a topic coming specifically that we'll touch on it big time.
Yeah, we'll talk about old games being relevant.
So stay tuned for a topic about Diablo 3 and other games
why
like
it's still relevant.
And why it's still relevant. But moving on to our spotlight topic for this evening, our game life balance. I think this is something that all gamers, all people, I think, really struggle with, whatever your passion may be, is balancing the things you want to do, the things you have to do, and the people you want to spend time with, kind of with each other, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, who wants to kind of take the lead on this one?
Well, I mean, I put in the bullet points so I can kind of go through them, but I think I want to hear, this was End of Line's topic, so I want to hear End of Line's take on a lot of these, as well as Gigett's, as she'll probably have an interesting take there. So the first section I brought up is...
Hold on. I guess my first question is for End of Line. Why is this something that you felt would be a good conversation for us this week? What did something specific happen, or are you feeling imbalance in your life? Like, where did this kind of come up for you?
Nothing specifically.
I promise I won't go to that part of my brain too much.
I mean, certainly it's been
I was almost there, guys.
Yeah.
Nothing specifically recently. I mean, yeah, work has been kind of nuts, but aside from that, no, nothing specifically. Just in general, it's something that kind of crops up every now and again, especially if you're someone in a relationship. It's certainly something that has to. But I just thought it'd be a good topic because I think it's most people who are maybe a little more than just casual gamers. It's certainly something you're going to be faced with eventually in one form or another. It's kind of unescapable, and there are better ways of dealing with it than others.
Yeah.
And so I thought it'd be interesting to just kind of talk about it.
Absolutely. And like you said, I mean, we struggle with that in our house, even as a household where everyone that lives in this house games in one way or another. We still struggle with finding that balance with games and spending time with each other and work and all that kind of stuff. So
realizing it's 10 o'clock at night and nobody's eating.
Thankfully, right. I don't have that happen in our house. But if Kurt and our kid were in charge, then that would probably happen a lot. So yeah, Kurt, you want to jump in with our?
So this first section here, I kind of wanted to go over managing expectations. I think this is something a lot of people think to do or get used to doing in their work life. Like, you have clients or you have people that are beholden to, like, they're waiting on you or they expect things from you. And so you have to manage those expectations as what's realistic for you and them and what's healthy, right?
Yep. And
so my first point here is about being open with your partner about your wants and needs. And the reason I wrote it like that is it's important to make sure what is clear. This is a need for me, and this is a want, so that you know where you can kind of compromise, right? So what do you guys think about that?
I think need and want is the absolute perfectly bolded top thing, right? I need some time alone. I need to spend some time outside of my head. I want to play this new video game that I just got. Right? I don't necessarily need to, but I want to. And I think the need thing is a very it's a difficult thing to kind of discuss because I think you have to start going down the path of like gaming addiction and things like that, where it becomes like this escapism and this coping mechanism versus something you're doing for fun.
Right.
which
Well,
I think
that's-
is okay in moderation. But I think it's kind of difficult to just throw that term around. I need to game, because then it gets kind of sketchy.
Well, this is something that Kurt and I were kind of touching on our way to go pick up dinner tonight. Is the part of our brain that needs to relax, needs to feel those happy hormones, needs to find a way to manage your stress or your anxiety or whatever it is. And the way we cope with that is dealt with in many different ways depending on the person. And so when we train our brains that the thing that makes us relaxed or feel like we're having fun or happy or engaging with your friends online, and so you're also getting some social interaction, you're teaching your brain that that thing that you're doing is now your coping mechanism for stress, for anxiety, for your hard day at work, whatever it may be. And so for us nerds who play video games, and especially when you play them online with your friends, we definitely teach our brains that we need to play video games. We need to play tabletop games. We need to do the things that feel like it should be a want instead of a need. But we've trained our brains that it is a need, because otherwise our way to cope with our daily stress at work or our fight with our spouse or whatever is going to be, I don't know, poor coping skills like drinking or whatever. And so I don't think necessarily black tar heroin. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the next step. It's
we're going
video games,
straight to the heroin.
alcohol, heroin. Like that's the line.
That's the logical transition.
The logical transition.
It's a little aggressive.
But yeah, I mean, so we talk about, people wanting to play video games, and I think people who don't spend a lot of time playing, whether it's RPGs or video games, not understanding why people would feel a need to play as much as they do, or that want to play as much as they do. And it's because we've trained our brains to need that input in order to feel better.
Yeah, I think the escapism is a healthy thing. I speaking for me, and probably also Nightson, just because we know each other IRL, of course. I am a super introvert, right? Now I have a very extroverted job. So I spend a lot of my time talking to people and meeting with people and I'm around people all the time. And it is an exhausting endeavor for an introvert, because you have to kind of put on a cap that's not necessarily natural to you. So for me, like coming home and relaxing and jumping in a game and just kind of escaping into a character or playing an RPG or whatever it might be, it just like completely takes me out of my head for a while, and I'm able to like relax and calm down and kind of separate from that like chaos.
Right.
And so I remember talking to someone about that who is a therapist, and that conversation was like, well, you have to be really careful because it becomes, like I said before, it becomes a coping mechanism.
Right.
And now I have a very different perspective of that. For me, I think that's okay. I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to have a coping mechanism in place that works for that type of thing. I think the key word that's going to come out anytime someone's talking about something like this is moderation.
Right.
Which I don't really do moderation well with gaming. But.
Honestly, I think that goes into like the next bullet point here, which is respecting your partner or family or the people that in your life that care about you, their wants and needs as well. Because like you said, like the amount that you play, it doesn't necessarily balance whether or not it's a coping mechanism or an addiction, right? All of us, Kurt included. Kurt's is tabletop games though, not video games, but
No, it's specifically new tabletop games.
Really, it's any tabletop games. And the whole respecting your partner's wants and needs, or the people in your life's needs, is talking to them about, I need this thing in order to release my stress from work, or I need to do this thing to calm down or get some time by myself or whatever it might be. But how much is an appropriate amount of time for them, for you to be away doing that thing, and what do they need is their coping mechanism? Because sometimes sitting and talking with their partner is their coping mechanism, and if you're always away playing RPGs or playing video games, then you're not helping with their needs either. And so it's having that conversation with your partner about, I really enjoy playing video games, and I'm going to want to come home every day from work and sit at my computer for a couple hours and decompress.
Right.
And the earlier that conversation happens, the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely not something you
often.
want to sneak in 6 years after marriage. You go, oh, by the way, I play video games 30 hours a week.
And like Kurt
where the
said,
hell have you been?
Right?
Yeah.
And like Kurt said, often. That's a conversation that needs to happen, not just at the beginning, but, every time you start to feel a little friction in the relationship about the amount of time that you're doing your thing, it's time to have that talk again. Hey, am I playing too much? What's going to be our code for us to be able to respond to each other about, I've been spending too much time away from you, or you need to reset my focus a little bit, or whatever it's going to be.
Right.
Literally came up in the first date I ever had with my now partner of 17 years was about gaming. Like, it was part of it. I was 22 at the time and kind of wasn't looking for a relationship. So it was a very interesting situation where I'm just kind of like, if this doesn't work out, I'm not really worked up about it. So I'm just going to be completely everything on the table,
Right.
kind of out there. And it was part of it. It was like, hey, this is a big part of my life. It's not just a hobby for me. It's a passion. I spend a lot of time doing it. I'm an introverted person. I spend a lot of time at home. If that's not cool, that's okay, but that's not going to change. You know what I mean? Like, you have that very bold conversation.
Well, I think it's important to say, I'm a very autonomous person. I like being in relationships, or I like having people around me, but I also need my time to myself. Do you find yourself being an autonomous person, or are you more of a connecting person? Do you need me sitting by your side every second that we're in the same building together? Because if so, this probably isn't going to work out if I'm not going to mesh well with your type of personality.
Yep.
Yeah,
so having that conversation early is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, this entire conversation is based on the fact that we're already getting a fresh or new relationship where we have the opportunity to lay that on the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or where we're expressing the point of where you're with somebody who already kind of knows all these things, and now you're trying to constantly bring up those boundaries. What about the case or scenario in which you're with somebody and then you discover RPGs for the first time, right? Or
So,
you just
so can I answer this question, Kurt?
Yeah. I think that might have happened to you several times with different things.
So Kurt and I have also been together for 17 years. And when we first started dating, neither of us owned a computer at the time. We were very young, and we didn't know what RPGs were. We didn't play them. We didn't play video games. We weren't into any of that stuff at all.
Yeah, we were like cool kids.
We were cool kids.
So neither one of you had played console either much.
Kurt had, but I wasn't allowed to because my parents thought that they would rot my brain.
Yeah,
so
but
I wasn't allowed to play video games growing up.
Games weren't like a part of my, they weren't a thing that other than I'm at a friend's house and there's a console, we're going to play games. It was never, I never thought, how do I get more games in my life? There were plenty. I never needed more.
But as our, and I'm going to,
Out me.
No, I'm going to clip notes this here. But as we were together longer and longer, the more, we bought a computer right after we got married.
Yeah.
And
okay, can I tell that story?
I would Yeah,
so,
go ahead.
So we got married. We got a bunch of money for our wedding, and we turned around and spent it on a computer.
Yeah, like you should.
And so we bought a computer and The Sims, because I was really into The Sims at the time. And she went to work in the morning, or went to school and work. And when she came home, it had been maybe 12 hours. All of the lights are off. I hadn't eaten. I was just playing The Sims all day. She opens the door and she's like, "Hey, did you do any?" She turns a light on and I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "Have you eaten today?" I'm like, "No, I'm kind of hungry." I was just gone. And so that's how not to introduce your partner to.
Yeah, right? That was oh shit, we have a problem. But I mean, that was just, I kind of figured that was Kimmy. But yeah, I mean, that is something that Kurt introduced into our lives first was playing video games. He's the one who was like, hey, heard of this World of Warcraft thing, we should play it. And then it was all consuming to his life and his schedule, and instead of listening to me when I was like, hey, you're spending too much time, he was like, hey, you should come play this game with me. This is how cool it is. No,
It's
I won't
an
make you
alternate way to
play.
handle the problem.
Right?
Yeah,
He was like, no, I won't make you play. Let's just figure out what kind of character you would want to play if you were to play. And then, just push this button. Okay, now push this one and you'll walk around. See, this is fun, right? Like that was his way of dealing with his slide into, all-consuming video
Gidget's
game
introduction to
addiction.
video games was
And
fun.
my introduction into video games.
And here we are 10 years later, and you're still the one playing WoW.
Right? But my point in this is that we had to sit down and have that conversation where I said, look, we have a child. At the time, our child was like 2. It's like, we have a child. You have a job that you've called in sick to a couple of times in the last few weeks because there was something you wanted to do on your computer. We haven't seen our friends in weeks. I'm feeling ignored. I think there's a problem here, and it wasn't. It was a discussion we had, and I think the way that a lot of people approach this topic is yelling at each other about feeling ignored, instead of saying like, look, we've got a problem here, and we need to find a way to fix it. And that's the way to approach the discussion. Or if you're already in a relationship and you find, my attention has been held a lot by this new thing in my life, and I feel that I'm ignoring everybody, going to the people that are important in your life and saying like, hey, I'm sorry that I've been ignoring you. This thing is really entertaining and taking up a lot of my time. Let's set up some time for us to spend some time together and show the people in your life that you do care. Even if it's just for an evening, you're showing people that like, yeah, I'm going to go back and keep doing the thing I want to be doing, but I'm also showing you that you're still an important part of my life, even though there's this new thing that's taking my attention.
Right. And I mean, and
By
that
the
goes...
way-
Oh, go ahead, Handor.
I was just gonna say, by the way, as we're talking about this topic, I'm just it's tons of similar places where this exact scenario would play out in relationships with football, if you're into sports, or if you're
Absolutely.
into car
Yeah.
This is,
collecting,
I think this is universal
I
to
mean-
whatever the thing is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
takes your
yeah.
attention.
If you
For sure.
suddenly get into going to the gym a lot,
Right.
it doesn't... It
Right.
could be a healthy thing for you.
Absolutely.
I totally lost this. I was dating somebody. She was absolutely wonderful, and I totally I had to give her up to the gym because she wanted she got a taste of competing, and I was I was so excited for her that I fed that, and I was like, okay, I understand a little bit of nutrition,
I'm not attacking you.
To Kimmy. It's okay, Kimmy.
And I understand a little bit about nutrition and how to maximize gains, if you will.
Right.
So I would go to the grocery store, come home with all natural yogurt with nothing in it, all that
Right.
stuff. Things that will supplement a good diet, healthy diet.
You were trying
And
to be a part of what she wanted to do, but eventually
Yeah.
it drove a wedge between you guys.
Well, yeah, she ended up texting me saying, look, I want to do this and I don't have time for a relationship. I'm like,
Right.
cool.
Well,
Bye.
and something that Kimmy said, she mentioned that she struggled with video game addiction when she was in college, and I did too. I had just found WoW when I was in the early stages of my bachelor's program, and I remember skipping class a lot to stay home and play WoW, or kept putting off that paper or studying for that exam because I wanted to do whatever raid it was that was important at that time. And so, there's definitely, kind of like End of Line was saying, there's definitely a line between healthy wants and needs and unhealthy wants and needs. And it's learning to balance those things and learning to find a healthy way to deal with when you start to feel yourself like, oh God, I'm wanting to leave work and cut out early sick so I can go home and play whatever like that. You've got a little bit of a problem, and you need to work on that. Talk to somebody, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to people that, also play video games about your struggles. Sometimes it helps hearing other people also struggle with the same thing you do to help you work through what you're struggling with.
I think the last point of that managing expectations is being honest with yourself. And so when a lot of people, when they get into something and it's obvious that it is all consuming for them, they will reject being honest with themselves about how important that is to them, or how detrimental that's become to their life, or even just how much they need to do that thing. Yeah. And so they won't be able to effectively communicate what they need to be like to their partner or to their family. This is important to me and this is why. Mm-hmm. And if you can't tell yourself, like if you can't be honest with yourself, then there's no way you're going to be able to communicate that to the people around you. And you need to be open to the people around you helping you check yourself. Like if people are coming to you quite a bit saying, hey, I think this thing is bad for you, I mean, look at it, right? Like, one, right. If you just made a huge life change, then it's still your life. So you're going to make those decisions, right? Mm-hmm. But if all the people in your life are coming to you and saying, you're losing me because of this thing, then you need to talk to them and say, this is why I want it. This is why I'm not doing the thing that you need. Can we find a middle ground? And be okay with the fact that this thing may be important than that relationship, or this relationship is more important than my thing.
I think that is really difficult and very challenging, being in a relationship with someone that is not into a thing or a game or something like that, because it doesn't process. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what do you mean you need to play a game? Like, it's a waste of your time. Like, there's nothing you're getting out of it. And it's very easy to turn that conversation on its head, obviously. Why do you watch these TV shows so often? Why are you doing all of these things? And you know what I mean? This is your fourth time watching The Office, or Parks and Rec. And like, I don't understand why you're wasting your time doing that. Like, obviously that conversation flips sides. But I think for gaming specifically, and obviously it's gotten a lot better. Yeah. Oh, because gaming's, it's mainstream now. Like, everyone plays video games. Right. Like, even people who say, I don't hate video games, they're playing stuff on their phones and all the other stuff.
Right.
Yep.
People understand it in a different context now than they did 10 years ago.
Yeah, but it's a difficult connection for people.
Right.
They're creating colleges for young kids to actually become pro gamers. It's definitely mainstream.
But I think end of line, you touched on something where trying to help the person understand where you're like, why do you watch The Office or whatever, and doing it in a non like, well, you do this thing, but in like a, what is it about making jewelry, or what is it about painting, or what is it about whatever your partner or your person's hobby is? What is it about that brings you joy? And have them talk about it. And then when they've been able to explain to you their thing that brings them joy, then you can say, that's what playing video games does for me.
Yeah.
It helps them, you get them to the emotional point in their own body about what their thing feels like for them. And all you have to say is, that's what I feel like when I play video games, or that's what I feel like when I play RPGs. It's escapism. It makes me happy. And, you're right. I could probably play it less, but, that's the balance part, right?
I will say, obviously, I think I'd say it's more likely that everyone that's watching or listening to this, but maybe not everyone, is probably coming from the perspective that some of us are from. I will say this: if you are in the counterpoint of this, and you have someone that you care about that is, very heavily into gaming, I will say one thing that you should really avoid is an ultimatum.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
not going to end well for either one of you. You may think you're helping the situation or trying to solve something, but it's not going to work.
I think the big thing is, and we said it a little bit earlier about like anything could become an addiction. It doesn't have to be drugs. It doesn't have to be, what would we say, black tar heroin? Is that where we were going? Video games to black tar heroin.
Gateway drug.
But it can be painting, it can be jogging, it can be, an addiction can be almost any jogging. Can be almost anything. And so at any point, if you confronted somebody who had some type of addiction with an ultimatum or with anger, they're going to retaliate. They're going to be angry and they're not going to handle it well. So when you talk to your person and they're taking up too much time on social media or playing games on their phone or playing video games, when you talk to your person, come to that topic with compassion and the open mind that we're going to try to find a way to help you do this less and spend more time with me as in your person, not get you to stop doing the thing that's not exactly harmful to you, it's just hurting our relationship.
Right. You need to also know when it's time.
Right.
You need to know when it's time to say, okay, we need to go out to dinner. We need to go and see a movie and spend time together.
Yeah. A couple things. Weasel brought up a really good point, which he said, that it's funny that with video games, it's if somebody's out fishing or they're gonna go for the weekend hunting, that's not an addiction. That's absolutely normal, right? But if you want to spend 36 hours or take a weekend off and play video games, this is something that's socially unacceptable. This is something that's and Happy Jack's RPG. I think I just had a stroke there for a second, but
that's Kimmy.
I pushed through it, so we're okay.
Push through the stroke.
Yeah, she was able to explain that irrationality, essentially, that it's not socially acceptable yet, which I think it's getting there. I do think that it's leaps and bounds ahead of what it was even 5 to 10 years ago.
I think it's a lot less of an issue for the younger generations now.
Absolutely.
I think our generation it obviously was a big stigma.
Right.
We're kind of old. I mean, we're older, right? So
well, think of it this way.
We're all in our 30s. We're not that old.
I'll give you a prime example.
I am not bad and bougie. I just want to say that. I don't know what that means, but I'm just...
Don't say things you don't know what it means.
Yeah, probably don't do that.
Here's what I told someone like a few months ago. I had a conversation similar to this. Think about how tech jobs were viewed 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
You thought about these
IT
thick
crowd.
glass, antisocial nerds, and to a degree that's correct. But now, I'm sorry, but kind of rule the world at this point.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like it's a whole different landscape. So I again, because of that reason,
So kind of moving,
the view is a lot different.
Kind of moving through our topic here, I have an example that kind of encompasses our managing expectations of your partner and your family, being honest with yourself, and then moving into our next part, which is scheduling. In our house, we talk a lot about when was the last time we played RPGs, or how did we, don't call us old, guys. That's messed up. No, but how we handle managing our own expectations, managing and respecting each other by making sure we're not overplaying or overscheduling or overdoing too much of the thing, right? But also being able to do the things we want to do. And so a lot of that involves maintaining a schedule that is acceptable and being open and honest and talking about what we do. We talk about like, I really want to play video games tonight. And you're like, well, I really wanted to spend time together. And it's like, okay, well, why don't we do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, right? Or
Weasel wants you to repeat everything you just said.
Yeah.
He said he's old and is...
We record these and they'll be on the podcast. So
we did, yes.
Listen back at the podcast for...
But in our house, the biggest problem, honestly, is RPGs right now. Kurt plays a ridiculous amount of RPGs, and there was a point where he was playing 2 or 3 games a night, which are somewhere between 2 to 4 hours. And then
not a night, like a week.
A week. No, Monday through Friday, a week. Playing 3 games on a week. Yeah.
I don't think I could play 3-4 hour games in one night.
No. I've been sleeping.
Several times.
I haven't been sleeping in 3 weeks.
Several times a week. 3 to 4 hour games, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then every weekend he was playing an RPG on a Saturday and then another one on Sunday, and those games are somewhere between 3 to 4 hours each. And that's a lot of time playing RPGs. Hashtag pain in the ass. No, but I enjoy playing RPGs and I enjoy playing board games or video games, but there's also has to be time there for family and for your partner and work and, everything else in your life. And when you're spending too much time doing your hobbies, those things tend to not get the attention that they need.
Yeah.
So that's why scheduling becomes such an important piece, I think, of balance, and talking about, hey, maybe for you, End of Line, you're like, hey, I'm going to spend all day Saturday playing video games, and then Saturday night, we're going to do our podcast, but Sunday afternoon, I'm going to spend 3 hours together with my partner. And that might be the healthy balance that you guys worked out in your household. Or in our household, the typical rule is to try to have one RPG scheduled a weekend. So there's one day that's RPG and one day there isn't. So that we have at least one day on the weekend where we do spend time as a family together. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing with the week. Kurt was playing a lot of games Monday through Friday, and we started to realize that as a household, things weren't running so great around here with him playing 3 games a week. And so, he had to cut it back to 1 in order for the house to function properly. But that comes down to all of those topics: respecting your partner, being honest with yourself about what you want and what you can honestly maintain, mm-hmm. and then figuring out a schedule that works well for your family and for your household.
I've been. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Endeline.
No, that was it.
I've been watching a lot of those videos on YouTube of the young man that makes houses out of mud and stuff. So this whole conversation has got me thinking, like, how important are houses? How important are all those things?
No, that's a cool channel. Like, he's good.
All right, I'm gonna sit here and you connect the dots for me. I'm gonna let you connect those dots.
Like, what the hell?
It's like prehistoric building or survival.
No, we're all aware of the channel. I'm just looking for how this ties in.
Yeah, where are we going with this?
So,
or is this the stroke talking?
No. Gigett had mentioned that the household wasn't running so well, and I just figured, fuck the house. You can just game.
I don't think you understand what a household means.
I don't think that's what
I'm joking. It's a joke.
It's okay, Handor. It's okay.
So I think a core thing of building a schedule is being realistic with
primitive technology.
With how long it takes to raid.
Like if I am a married, kids, work a 40-hour week job, mm-hmm. I probably shouldn't be going and trying to join Method and for a 40-hour raid week.
Right.
Obviously.
Well, that's being honest with yourself, right? Like, what can you handle?
Right. And even though your want might be to do that 40-hour raid schedule a week, the realistic of your own life is that that's not actually going to work, right? And that's, like End of Line was saying, balancing the needs and wants. The want is to do the 40 hours of raiding. The need is to not get a divorce.
Right.
Yeah,
and real quick, you had said, that's Kurt. You had said, "What can you handle?" Well, I guess the overture would be, what can the relationship handle, right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, and that's sort of what I mean, right? Like, what can you do that is healthy for you, your partners, your family, and your friends? So
and also your job. I mean, if you're staying up late every single night raiding, and then you're coming into work exhausted every day, and you're getting in trouble at work for shitty workmanship or whatever, mm-hmm. like, that's another balance of your, wants versus your needs. You need to have a job so you can pay your bills.
Need that money.
Right? Yeah. But you want to do the raid. Well, maybe I'm not going to stay up all night on a work night doing that raid until 3 a.m. But something that we have is we use a shared calendar for our gaming. Kurt and I, well, actually we all do, but Kurt, we're all on a gaming calendar together, but Kurt and I are on a shared calendar where he tells me, like, hey, I scheduled a game for this day. Or he'll say, like, hey, do we have anything going on this specific Saturday? Mm-hmm. And I'll check our calendar and say, okay, no, it doesn't look like it. Okay, you can go ahead and schedule it. Not that I'm giving permission, but it's like, do we have something family scheduled already before you schedule the RPG game? And so having that shared calendar so that you guys aren't, kind of scheduling over each other. As friends, we now have a shared Pixel Scandals calendar that we can all post stuff to. So we kind of keep track of where everybody is and what we're doing so we can spend time together too.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing is managing that and making sure that you keep track of the important things that are going to be on your calendar and that you're not ignoring them for the things that you really want to be doing, like playing video games or RPGs.
So go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for me, back to being serious. Sorry, excuse my horrible.
We'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Yeah. For me, I was in a very long relationship early on when I discovered like hardcore gaming, and it took me, in order to learn how to properly manage that. It took me failing miserably. It took a almost 8-year relationship and having to say goodbye to that, and then in the next relationship apply those what I learned from those mistakes to the new relationships. But
and
now
sometimes that's what it takes. I mean, I know that Areztez isn't here to talk about it, but he's had some of those same issues with relationships where he's had the conversation early on and it didn't become a problem in the relationship because he talked about it, and then in other relationships he didn't really bring it up, and it just was sprung on the person he was dating, and then it became a problem because he wasn't upfront about his needs and wants with video gaming. So that's definitely, you kind of learn from your past relationships and take those forward.
I've actually been very fortunate with Gigett. She sort of taught me how to communicate a lot of stuff. But
geez, someone's searching for points.
Well, I mean, you got to get them somewhere. I'm basically in an intervention right now. So,
thanks, guys.
That was actually the hidden third topic at the bottom of the doc. You couldn't
suck
say.
Up when you can. No, what I was
right? He's like, why aren't we doing my topic tonight? And I'm like, I don't know, honey. Everybody just really wants to do this one.
We all love you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Where's my letter? I gotta find it.
Somebody get the banner. All right. So what was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to thank Gigett because she sort of taught me how to communicate those wants and needs, and how to understand when someone else is trying to explain to you their wants and needs, that it's not an attack, right? That this you are a partner in this thing, and they are just trying to tell you what they need from you and what they want from you. And so learning to communicate with your partner or with your family is really important. And so
and like End of Line said, not as an ultimatum, but as a discussion.
Well, and if you are in the type of person who didn't end up with an excellent communicator or someone who became a therapist to teach you how to talk about relationship stuff, see somebody. Like if you cannot communicate with that person, couples counseling is not because you're breaking up. It's because you want to learn how to talk to each other effectively. Like go do that shit early before it's gone down the shithole.
Little inside tip from a therapist: people who wait too long to go to couples therapy always go, "It didn't work," and that's because you waited too long.
Right? Yeah.
Guess it doesn't work in most things. I don't know why people think it would work in those kind of things.
It's like
don't wait till it's completely fucked to decide you need to go.
Right.
Yeah. It's like I pricked my finger and I waited until it was a gaping wound to stick a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
But there's the whole stigma with seeing a therapist, and I just think it's absolute bullshit. I honestly think that everybody, there are a few rules that I acquired through my years of living, and one is I believe that everyone should have a sleep study, and everyone should absolutely consider seeing a therapist regardless of your situation. If everything feels like it's going great, everything's going your way, like even at the most highs of your life, go see a therapist, level off. If you're at the
stop being happy, be miserable.
No, but what Handor is saying though is even people who don't feel like they have any problems, sometimes you go and you learn skills that you didn't know you needed. To fix problems you didn't know you had. And sometimes it's you're in a relationship that's great, but you guys could communicate better. Or maybe you're in a relationship you've convinced yourself is good, and you go see a therapist and go, oh shit, I'm codependent and this is awful. I mean, or maybe it's something shitty happened to you in high school and you need to talk it out, and then you feel great afterwards. Whatever it is, I feel like everybody benefits at least from a very short time with a therapist.
This
Absolutely.
PSA brought to you by the Pixel Scandal Nerdcast.
we chase degrees in this country, and we chase so many things. Why not chase just being better at life in general? Like,
Absolutely. And I don't talk about my professional life on here very often, but as a therapist, I do think that everyone, especially in our nerd community, could really benefit from talking to a therapist, because there are a lot of things that we deal with, and a lot of stigmas we've dealt with, and probably a lot of minor traumas here and there from people being mean, or people treating us like shit, or being walked all over, or maybe it's a little bit of a video game addiction or RPG addiction. Kurt.
Back to the intervention. I thought we were
but yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody could benefit.
I made a poster and everything. Like, we haven't even got to it.
No, but back to our topic, and off of trying to get everyone to go see therapists. But when you are dealing with trying to balance yourself with the things that you want to do and the things you need to do, be mindful of your schedule and how much time you've really been spending away from the important things in your life. Something that happens all too often in our household is overbooking and double booking. Kurt is real bad about double booking things or overbooking things, and the important lesson that I feel like he's learned probably just within the last maybe year is knowing when to cancel things.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you made plans with your friends and your family needs you. It's okay if you had a standing arrangement with your guild to do a run and your partner needs you. It's okay to cancel the things you want to be doing to go do the things you need to do, and vice versa. Sometimes you have plans to go out with friends and you feel really stressed, and you feel like if you go out with your friends, you're probably going to end up a babbling pile of mess on the ground because you're so stressed out and overwhelmed by the life, and you need to cancel those going out plans and stay home and play video games. And that's okay too.
Let me speak for all your introvert friends. You should cancel plans more often.
Oh my God, Kurt had canceled plans today, and I swear to God, it was like crack. It was that black tar heroin. It was the most amazing thing.
I do love canceled
plans.
It
felt
There's
so
nothing
goddamn
better
good.
than having a friend cancel a plan. We're like, oh, thank God.
Especially when you go to show up and they're like, no, it's not going to happen, because you still get credit.
You get the points that you win.
You get the
You're like, I was ready to go. Someone else cancel.
And it got canceled.
Canceled plans is like cocaine.
Oh no, I was going to be there.
It's so great.
It's so terrible,
I mean,
but it's true.
I think I'm very similar to End of Line. I have a job that requires me to be very extroverted, and I am an introvert, and so I need that time alone and quiet and away from other people. And so when there's a lot going on, sometimes we have to cancel. Yeah. Sometimes we have to say, sorry guys, we're not doing the thing.
Am I the only one here that's an extrovert?
No, Kurt is too.
Yeah.
No, we're the extroverts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love me.
But you know what? Being with an extrovert when you're an introvert is a nice balance, because
they
then
drag you to shit.
They drag you to shit, and you don't stay inside all the time. And honestly, we probably all get together and play RPGs and tabletop games and board games, because Kurt pulls everybody over here.
That is a filthy lie started by wolves.
But no.
Why would wolves start?
Because they want the outside of themselves.
But then
there would be wolves outside.
Part of that overbooking, double booking, and knowing when to cancel is also being in open communication with the people in your life. And there have been plenty of times, and I'm going to out End of Line here, but there have been plenty of times where he has said, sorry guys, I'm not coming over, I'm having an introverted day. Mm-hmm. Just very honest and very clear, and not, I'm sick, or whatever. Right. He's been very clear and said, I am having an introverted day. I've had a very exhausting week being around a lot of people, and I'm just not going to make it to our scheduled RPG game on Saturday at your house. That's just not going to happen.
I just need to not be around people.
Yeah, and none of us have ever gone, fucking End of Line, not showing up for the fucking... We're like, yeah, it makes sense. I hope he gets the rest he needs. Like, that's the kind of communication you need to have with your friends, the people in your life. Mm-hmm. When you have to cancel the outside plans, because you need to stay with your inside plans, and vice versa. If you're gonna talk to your friends that you were all gonna get together and raid with, and you're like, hey, the wife needs me to go, take her out to dinner and a movie because I've ignored her a lot today, your friends should be able to go, yeah, we get it. Okay, fine. Don't come to the raid.
Something else that I think is really important when you're discussing what to cancel, especially if you've double booked and like one thing is, say I scheduled a raid tonight, but it's also your grandma's birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
Have the discussion of hold on. Have the discussion of what's important and why. Like, this raid is important to me because I promised these 20 people I would be there. We are really close to doing a thing. That's important to me, and here's why. The other person can then say why they think their thing is important. Like, maybe they don't think their thing is important, but it was on the calendar because it was happening. Maybe it's really important, and their whatever relative is going to be there, and you just got to be there.
Right.
Find out have an open discussion with your partner or with your whoever those plans are with, and find out
Pixel Scandal.
which one is more important to, especially in a relationship, because usually the outside commitment is the one that you're going to cancel because you want to make the relationship's going to outlast that gaming guild, right? But find out from your partner, do I need to cancel my thing? I'm willing to.
That's part of the open communication.
If that's necessary.
Right.
But what does this event mean to you and why? And can we talk about whether it's more important than whatever this thing means to me and why?
Yeah. Kimmy at Happy Jack said a schedule is a promise, unless it's show start time. And what I was gonna say is that is where that open communication thing is so important, right? That as a cast, us at Pixel Scandal, we know 8:00 Saturday nights we've got to be here for a podcast. But if Handor's got to go get his kidneys taken out, or he's, have a knife fight with a hobo or whatever, I don't know what he does when he cancels. But, if somebody's like, hey, I'm not going to make it last minute, that sucks, but we understand, right? You've got personal things, but we also all know that we've got this as a set schedule. And so we do try to, as much as humanly possible, all try to be here at 8:00 on Saturday nights so that we can do the podcast, because this is a standing schedule outside of anything super important like Kurt being at Big Bad Con or whatever. We all try to be here for this thing. So I think a schedule is a promise, and it is important that we're all here when we need to be, but even as friends, we know that the important things, sometimes there's wiggle room.
Just real quick to
I just read what Nightson wrote in chat. Sorry.
Oh,
I'll mute. Go on.
Oh, jeez.
I feel like somebody's got to read chat. Somebody's got to put that out there.
Oh my god.
So I don't even know what I was gonna say. I feel like
but thank you,
the
Weasel.
overlying thing here, something that again, this is just through life experience, I've come to learn is a lot of this has to do with people being able to let go of their pride, especially with friends, and new relationships. Not so much. Well, I guess no. This would even cover, even 17 years of a relationship. Sometimes letting go of pride is a difficult thing to do, and have those discussions. All of those things are based upon the idea that you're going to be capable of doing that without going through already making the mistake. So something that I've learned is, I think it's important to understand that when getting into a new relationship or any relationship, a person's weaknesses or addictions or whatever else, they're not something that, how do I explain this? Because a lot of new relationships, especially, when you meet somebody new and you're turned off by something that they do, you're turned off by something that annoys you or bothers you, and they're opening up, especially about things that they're opening up about. They're letting their defenses down, right? And we get turned off by that. Let let me just get to the point. I'm trying. I promise.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not yawning at you. I apologize. Go on.
No, I know that I'm really struggling with this one. So please forgive me, everybody. But what I'm trying to say is, something that I have learned is when I'm in a relationship with anybody, I learned to understand that the things that they struggle with are not things for me to attack or to take away from them. Those are things that they're allowing me to witness or to see, and that is a blessing to me. And so that is my perspective, and I've been able to change my perspective in approaching a lot of those things. And I think that, I don't know,
being
it
supportive of
should
each other's
help.
flaws is really important in a relationship. The counter argument to that is when you're in a new relationship and you see those things you don't like and you ignore them because you're wanting to see if like there's more
Right.
good that outweighs the bad. If you are in a relationship with somebody that's constantly complaining about you playing video games and you were really honest about that part of your life and they continue to complain about it, and you've tried to work with them, you've tried to make changes, then maybe it's time to have the conversation like, hey, maybe we're not going to work out because this is the person that I am, and I've made accommodations to try to change to spend more time with you, but the amount of time I do play video games is where I'm comfortable. Then maybe that's it. Maybe it's time to move on.
And
Right.
to be fair, there is a difference between compromising and changing.
Right.
Yeah.
And trying to
Right.
be something that you're not, or trying to not be comfortable.
Right.
Compromising is a perfectly healthy thing. You
Compromise
have
is
to do that
totally
daily.
good in a relationship. That's, I mean,
But saying
everyone
this
has
is what
to
I
compromise.
need,
Yeah.
but I'm being told it's bad and they don't like it, so I'm gonna just stop.
Well, here's the
Yeah.
thing.
You're not gonna be
Kurt-
happy, and where does that end?
Kurt
You know what I
really enjoys playing RPGs, and he could play every single day, all day long, and probably be super happy and content because he gets to play pretend all day long. And that's awesome. And I love playing RPGs too. But even in a relationship where Kurt keeps talking about what great communicators we are, today I walked up to Kurt and gave him a hug and was like, I'm feeling ignored because you've been playing too many RPGs. Today. We picked this topic days ago, so this isn't like really actually an intervention, guys. But like what we're trying to say here is communicate and tell your partners what you need. Even as somebody who plays video games and plays RPGs and is an introvert and needs my time alone and away from everybody and even time away from Kurt, like I still have to go to Kurt and say, hey, I need time.
Yeah.
And so it's totally okay to go to your partner and communicate with them about your needs. Whether it's, hey, I need more time away from you playing my video games because I'm feeling exhausted by socializing with people, or saying, hey, you're ignoring me for your knitting too much. You need to spend time with me.
Yeah. Well, and I've had to go to Gigett with stuff too. Like it's okay to tell someone when you have a personal need or when you feel like your needs are not being met in that relationship, because if you find out, oh, this thing is not, like, if it ends up being a non-negotiable, you want to know, like, and a lot of times people get blinders on, like they get into a rhythm, they forget what they're doing, they don't realize, oh, in the past month or whatever, I accidentally overscheduled myself and I didn't talk about what that's going to mean for my relationship. And so now my partner's feeling ignored. It's time to reassess, right? It's time to look at, what am I doing? What are they doing? Where can we make some changes? Because it's not just, is your gaming schedule too stringent? Or is there too much gaming going on? But what are you doing when you're not gaming? Are you looking at your phone? Are you giving that person all of your attention? Because if you look at your schedule and you say, well, I'm only raiding 4 nights a week, you've got 3 nights a week or 2 nights a week and 2 days on the weekend of my time, full time, but all that time you're spending doing other things as well. Like, look at what you're doing and how you're treating your partner.
That goes. I mean, again, that's being honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, do we have somebody requesting a shout out for a happy birthday? Is that
I
what's going on?
see. Yeah,
I
Phoenix
think-
999 wants us to say happy birthday to his girlfriend.
Well, happy birthday.
Pixel
How do I pronounce that?
Right?
Donez?
Donezi?
Can you put a pronunciation guide? Because we want to get this right. But happy birthday.
Our first Pixel Scandal happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
right, Denez?
Ryan Denezi. We're
Donies.
gonna say
Well,
it how we want
hopefully-
to say it.
Donies. I'm gonna go with Donies. I think it's Donies.
Donies.
Hopefully,
Ryan
hopefully they'll put a pronunciation guide in the chat when it catches up. But kind of starting to wrap up our topic here, talking a little bit about burnout.
Weasel's gonna get.
Weasels,
no,
we're gonna
done.
Rye Donies.
Right,
Yeah.
Donies. Yeah.
ride Denise.
Right. Well, happy birthday, Rye Donies.
Yeah, happy birthday. That's awesome.
I think we're about to get trouble.
Yeah.
Burnout.
Burnout. So being realistic with your time,
Mhm.
making sure that you've got downtime and time to recharge, whether that's from your real life through video games or your video game time with your family, and then communicating that with the people around you about the way you're feeling. So if you're feeling burnt out from work, communicate that with the people around you. If you're feeling burnt out from socializing, communicate those needs to people, whatever it is. Sometimes it's burnout from video games. I do that where I've been playing a lot lately, and then I just kind of ghost away from my computer for 2 weeks where I don't touch my computer at all or play any video games and barely talk to you guys. And it's not, it's not that I don't want to hang out. It's burnout, right?
Time to catch up on Netflix.
right? Yeah. Like I'm burnt out playing video games. And I need to go binge watch American Horror Story or whatever. Like sometimes that's dude. But yeah, I mean, that's burnout is real, and managing your way you're feeling about whatever it is that's burning you out and communicating with the people around you about it is important.
That's probably one of my biggest flaws. I think Nightson and Align would tell you that they come to expect from me that any new expansion, any new release, any new season, any new content of any game that we press hard through and devote a 32-hour window to, I am the first to
Tap out.
Every time.
Mhm.
Well,
I'm
it
the
doesn't
same
help
way.
that you're 3 hours ahead,
Yeah.
Right.
you're
So
always
your exhaustion
3 hours
level is
later
very
than-
different from the
than
rest
us
of
when we
ours.
start.
and you're weak. That also plays in.
You're weak.
And you're weak. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. Kurt and I will be sitting here and I'm like, yeah, this is great. And he looks over and he's like, can we take a break for a couple hours? We've been sitting here for 2 hours doing questing or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Or vice versa. We do it to each other.
I'm feeling a little deep vein thrombosis.
Can we get up and go for a walk or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just managing your burnout, and don't try to push through the burnout and do more of the thing that is, you feel like you should be doing, because you've got to complete that quest line, or you've got to get that achievement reward, or you've got to whatever.
That entire zone so you can get ahead of everybody else.
Right, exactly. Sometimes it's a good idea to take a break from the thing that you are burning out and go spend time doing something else.
Yep.
So.
Well, I'm burned out on this podcast, so
well,
we
the
have
last-
been here for an
okay.
hour and a half.
That last bullet there is communicating fear of burnout early, which I did want to touch on before we go, but because
And Weasel said it, the key
can
to
I-
any relationship is effective communication.
that is true.
I would just one thing. I just want to say, why don't you fucking tap out? You are the weak one. Nightson, so
I would close out of the conversation as a gag, but I know what it would do to
It
the
would
stream and
Oh my
it would
God.
break
Fuck up all the
everything so
cameras.
miserably.
I would lose my
Kurt would
shit.
cut you.
I will cut you. But I appreciate that you communicated your fear of the burnout on this podcast early without having to just cut and bail. Because the last thing you want is to just have to just shut down and disappear for 3 days to recoup, or to drive yourself to a point where the thing that you're burning out on is no longer fun or no longer an effective use of your time.
Yeah.
And so talking to your friends saying, hey guys, I think I'm gonna have to drop to one night a week, or hey, I'm gonna have to we can only game once a month, or
Sometimes
whatever
the
it is.
burnout is balancing what you want to do and having those fights with your significant other or your family. And the burnout isn't the thing you're doing or spending time with the family. The burnout is the fight.
Yeah.
And so you have to change your schedule in a way so that you don't have that fight anymore. And that's the thing you're burned out on. And that's okay too. And sometimes that means saying, hey, I'm going to raid less, or, you know, breaking up or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I'm burning out on this relationship.
I'm burning out
We
on
need to
this
burn out.
relationship. No, but finding the way to eliminate the thing you're burning out from, or backing off so that you aren't burnt out, is important.
I recently had to take a break and sort of set aside a lot of the game design projects that I was working on, because I was sort of driving myself insane,
And me.
working on them. And so I've sort of put those to the side a little bit for the time being, and just trying to focus on enjoying role playing and enjoying games more. And honestly, I've had probably some of the best gaming in the last month because of that, because I set some of that shit down.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes taking a break from the things that are burning you out helps you go back and enjoy whatever they are, because you took a break from it.
And then when you get back, you're refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah.
So.
Does anybody have any last minute thoughts on our spotlight topic here before we kind of wrap things up for the night?
No, not specifically, I guess.
I think communication, like, that was the big takeaway, right? Is effective communication and open communication.
And that's just core to a relationship, regardless of your.
For
And if
sure.
you're not good at it,
Hobbies.
it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
All therapists are trained in how to teach people to communicate. So even if you're not depressed, or you're not dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, or you don't have bipolar disorder. I mean, you don't have to have some big scary disorder to see a therapist. Sometimes you just go in for couples therapy and learn how to communicate with each other, and that's okay.
And sometimes you drag all your friends in there because you. No, but
To have an intervention.
yeah, apparently.
Well, awesome. All right. Well, I don't think we have an official outro, so
You don't?
Kurt,
Are you sure?
I don't know,
think-
Handor. Did you
Did
write
you write
one?
us an outro?
Fuck no.
All
Yeah, I
right.
didn't think so.
Well, I think our official outro is now me rapid fire telling you all the ways you can find us on the internet. So thank you so much if you hung out with us live here on twitch.tv/pixelscandal. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the show, you can follow us. If you'd like to support the show, you can sub, or you can throw bits in the chat or whatever. I think that's a thing that Twitch does. We really appreciate it. That helps us pay for our hosting and getting all this shit out to you. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe and share that shit with your friends. Getting more subscribers lets us get like custom URLs over there. If you want to know more about the show or the cast, you can go to pixelscandal.com and find out. You can find back episodes. You can find the YouTube and the audio versions there. You can also find links to other ways to support us. If you buy RPG games on DriveThruRPG, we have a affiliate link. You can go and click that, and then we get like 10% of your purchase. So that's another way for you to support us. And if you'd like to contact the show to tell us to stop asking you to support us, you can do that by sending pixelscandal@gmail.com. You can send us an email, and maybe we'll read it on the channel. Thank you for the bits.
Weasel is number one.
Woo, Weasel.
Number one bitmaster.
Did I hit it? Oh, and if you'd like to connect with us on social media and get like go live announcements, you can do that Twitter @PixelScandal or Instagram if you want to see pictures of us playing board games. Is basically all that's on there. And I'm going to be at Big Bad Con, so I will be taking tons of pictures of Big Bad Con and putting them on the Pixel Scandal Instagram @PixelScandal. I think that's everything. Thank you.
Is it true that early in the show you mentioned that if people wanted to know more about running an RPG game, that they could email us and ask questions about how to do that, right?
Yes, yeah. If you want to know about a specific game, a specific RPG game, and
Or even just a general RPG question.
yeah, or just some general RPG questions, you can email us pixelscandal@gmail.com. And you know what? If it warrants a whole episode, we'll do an episode on it. If not, we'll just break down your specific question.
Or if it's
We
a
are
quick
busy,
question.
lazy people. If you want to give us topics, we are happy to accept them.
We will
And
certainly
if it's
take your
just
topics.
a quick topic, I'm sure Kurt can email you back as well.
Yes, if it is a quick just question and you would like us to respond, I can also just respond to that email with the answer to that question. Also, if you ask us about games that we're not familiar with, we will go and get guests and we will bring them on and we'll make them talk about it.
We have lots of nerdy friends.
We have lots of nerdy friends.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking with us tonight. We ran a little longer than normal, but I feel like this is an important topic that we in our community tend to suffer from. Kind of balancing our lives around our necessities, our wants, and our needs. And so I hope you guys feel like we sufficiently talked about this topic for you guys. And if you need mental health, please look up a therapist in your area. There are some really great ones. And if you need recommendations for a therapist, you can also send those to pixelscandal@gmail.com, and I will be happy to email you back.
Apparently that's a service we now provide.
I have to because it's my job.
It's just Philip DeFranco now. He actually advertises. We should put a thing for that. For where you can just get online therapy.
There is online therapy. There's even texting therapy now, so you don't even have to verbally communicate
for those
with
millennials
people.
out there.
For those millennials out there. So, yep, absolutely. Teledoc is a thing.
Before we go, I owe Nightson $5 because he didn't sleep. So.
Yep, there was a bet. There was a bet that he would fall asleep, and that did not happen. So.
All right. Well, good job, everyone.
Nightson's
Nobody
the
fell
winner.
asleep. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate everybody.
We'll see you next week.
And we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.